Je vous en parlais tout à l'heure lors de l'introduction. Nous allons nous intéresser à présent à la Digital Identity and Blockchain avec Ayham Ahmed MADI, qui est Software Engineer chez JEP Technologies.
Good morning. Thank you all for coming. I'm Ayham Madi, software engineer at JEP Technologies. Just let me get this started. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to talk about something related to our work at JEP Technologies, which is identification and security. We provide at JEP Technologies solutions for identification, such as reading the Algerian biometric card. In fact, we have a workshop after, I think around 3 o'clock today, about using some solutions we developed to extract information from the Algerian biometric identification card. If you are interested, please pass by and let's talk about it. So, what's an identity in general? It's a set of attributes that is used to identify us and distinct us from each other. These attributes can be biometric, like our fingerprint, or what we look like, or maybe our gender. And there is an official type of identity, like our ID number, passport, driving license. The list goes on and on. But what's the importance of identity? Usually, an identity is used to relate us to our positions. I own my car with my identity and my home with my identity. It's also used to track our actions and validate them. For example, when I entered this building, the gentleman at the door asks for my identity to verify if I'm authorized to be in here or not. Digital identity is very similar. It's usually credentials, username and password, but there is a bit more to that, because all of the information about us in the digital world is related to our identity, and it's constantly growing and evolving every time. So there is no limit to what attribute can be used to identify us in the digital world. Our social media behaviors, things we like, things we dislike, things we love, things we buy, for example, things we are looking for. All of these can be information related to our identities. Here comes the importance of identities in the digital world. So there are serious threats to our identity. In the current way our identity is handled in the digital world. The first is identity fraud and privacy. Identity fraud, usually it's vulnerabilities in many services, which makes it easy for others to pretend that they are us. There are daily hacks and daily data breaches. Facebook, for example, recently a newspaper published a report that Facebook used to store passwords in plain text without encryption or any sort of security. So why should we use these services to handle our digital identity? In terms of privacy, as we discussed, a digital identity is more than a username and password, and some services associate our identity with our behavior and our activities. So it's so important, and why should we trust these identities or these services to handle our digital identity? Again, I ask this question. So a proposed solution to protect our digital identity is to put the user at the center of the solution. Make the user understand why his identity in the digital world is so important. And create some serious rules and regulations why these identities should be secured and how it should be consumed and processed. So by putting the user at the center of the solution, the user can choose what identity or what digital identity he should use for each service. For example, I don't want to use my social media identity with my professional network identity. I have different interests, so I don't want the people running this social media or this service to know a lot about my professional life or maybe my healthcare services. And I should also balance my personal information exposure or disclosure. So I should always ask myself why this service is asking for this information about me. What are they going to do with it when I give it to them? And by creating rules and regulations, the first step is GDPR, which is, I believe, is the first step to protect identities in the internet, but we still need more. We can, by this regulation, we can ask some services to take our information down when we wish to. And also, creating a digital identity should be done through a well-monitored process. For example, the government should allow users to create a digital identity where this identity is only related to us in the eyes of the government and the people who are actually protecting us, not the people are using our information for their own benefits. So, as a suggested solution by the European Union is to use the blockchain as a way to protect digital identities. How exactly? The blockchain is a distributed ledger, and this ledger is immutable, where every transaction in this ledger is related to the next one. And any change in any transaction would definitely ruin the whole ledger, and the computer or the node who made this change will not be trusted in this network. So this would give us an immutable registry of our digital identities that we use for multiple services, and stored in a decentralized network where no one can handle it and no one can manipulate it. This would mitigate the use of trusted third parties. So if you are interested on seeing what some services on the internet are doing with our information, there is an interesting website called TOSDR, Term of Services Didn't Read. You just give them the website, and they will give you the bad things they are doing with our data, and they will give a rating. For example, a green if they are concerned about what we are doing, and red if they are not.
Sit down, Mr. Coleman. I'm afraid I've got bad
I think
news
we
about
need
your account.
sound here.
Really?
Mr. Coleman, I'm afraid I've got bad news about your account.
Really?
I'm very sorry to say that someone's stolen your identity.
Oh, God. Do you know who it was?
Well, they said they were you, but...
Of course. So, what happened?
Well, it was on the bank website. Someone logged in and committed identity theft electronically.
I see. Did they take anything else?
No.
Oh, good. So, all the money's still there.
What?
Well, it's just my identity that's gone. None of your money.
Well, no, they did. They emptied your account. It's identity theft.
They took all the money. Sounds more like a bank robbery.
No, if only. No, because we could take a hit. No, it was actually your identity that was stolen. Primarily. It's a massive pisser for you.
It's actually money that's been taken.
Yes.
From you.
Kind of.
Well, I don't know what you want from me other than my commiserations.
No, you see, it was your identity. They didn't just... they said they were you.
You believe them?
Yes, they stole your identity.
Well, I don't know, because I seem to have my identity. Whereas you seem to have lost several thousands of pounds. In the light of that, I'm not clear why you think it's my identity that was stolen, rather than your money.
I know it can look a bit like that, Mr. Coleman, but the sad fact is that absolutely nothing has been taken from this multi-billion-pound bank, whereas what they've taken from you, a small businessman with a wife and children, is your whole self. You win the identities! Damn you! Masquerading as dozens, if not hundreds of customers! How dare you steal their identities! Oh, the humanity!
Thank you, everyone. That was my presentation, and we hope to see you at the workshop, and protect yourself.